When life knocks you down, and life will knock you down, try to land on your back. Because if you can look up, you can get up. Welcome to Fire with Dr. Ninja Turtle.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Fire with Dr. Ninja Turtle. In this video, I'm going to talk about how I am a DIY investor and how mistakes I've made and successes that I've had as a DIY investor, because it doesn't always go exactly as you planned. But I wanted to tell you that this video is inspired by my friend Julie at Happy on Monday, and I will put her YouTube channel information in this video. Just like anyone else that I talk about, hopefully I will remember to put their YouTube channel in the description. And so what I wanted to talk about is that some people do a life cycle fund in their retirement investments, where they just give it the year that they plan to retire, and they let the mutual fund or whoever is their custodian of their money determine how to balance their money between stocks and bonds and all that. I don't do that. What I do is I buy real estate. I have very little percentage in the stock market. However, that's growing, but I'm the person that chooses my percentage. And even when I had my TSP, which is very tiny right now, I pulled almost all my money out of the TSP. I chose the funds that I wanted my money in, which was like the C fund and the S fund. I will give you a quick tip on the TSP. Never pull all of your money out of the TSP. Somebody told me this just before I retired, because then someday, if you wanted to, you could put money back into your TSP account. You could transfer money from another IRA back into the TSP account, and there are very low management fees in the TSP. So I keep a very little amount of money in there, but I'll never close that TSP. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about is that I build my parachute on the way down. I didn't know what I was doing. I started a self-directed account, which I talked about in the last video. I started a traditional self-directed account, and now I have a Roth self-directed account. What I do with those accounts is I loan money out to real estate investors. But now I want to take some of that money and invest in my own piece of real estate so that I have a little more control over my money. But I also want to close my traditional self-directed IRA. When I lived in the state of Maryland is when I started this, and I opened the traditional self-directed IRA. So that's with an LLC in Maryland. The LLCs in Maryland are very different than the LLCs, which is where I opened my Roth in Alabama. And I have to tell you, I'm not happy with the state of Maryland and all of their fees and their filing instructions that I have to go through every year. And mostly, I would like to have a Roth account that has a lot of money in it. So I'm moving all of my traditional self-directed into the Roth, and then someday I will close my traditional self-directed account. So let me tell you about the mistake that I made as a DIY investor with these accounts. I cannot invest in the stock market. I'm not saying that a self-directed account cannot invest in the stock market. I'm saying the ones that I opened cannot invest in the stock market. So be careful, do your own research, and I would recommend that you make sure that whatever company you choose to do a self-directed account, make sure that you have the ability to invest in the stock market. Basically, I can only buy real estate or loan money to people that have real estate. I can't transfer. I tried with Charles Schwab. I tried with Fidelity. They will not take my money. I can't transfer it from my self-directed bank and custodian, where it is, into their accounts. They just won't take it. So my money is basically stuck there, which is fine because I like investing and loaning money. And I loan in multifamily syndications and I loan in flips. So those are my two things that I loan money on. But at some point, someday, I hope to have enough cash in the Roth to buy a rental property for cash. And I will talk in another video about why you don't want to borrow money in a self-directed account to buy real estate. You can do it. I'm choosing not to do it because of all of the tax hassles. And like I've explained, I learned all of this on YouTube. However, that's one of the mistakes that I made. So as a self-directed person, my goal is to make sure that my wife is okay. If something happens to me, my whole goal in investing is to make sure that she's going to have income for the rest of her life. Now, what some people do is some people take out an insurance policy. And I'll tell you my beliefs on insurance policies, and this is totally maybe not true. But what I've learned from watching different YouTube videos is that insurance is if you have minor children or someone that depends on your income for whatever reason. And then your income going away would affect, let's say, minor children or a wife that doesn't work. Well, I don't have to worry about that with my wife. My income, she is not dependent on my income. She's fine. However, my goal, because of what I've heard on like the Dave Ramsey show, where somebody passes away and they leave their wife in destitute straits where they have to sell the house or take the kids out of private school, whatever they have to do, because the person did not have an insurance policy. I want to make sure that my real estate pays my wife for the rest of her life. So that's what I'm doing. And so I've set up a will, I've set up a trust, and I'm going to ask everybody out there, make sure you have a will, at least a will. Have something in writing, because if you don't have it in writing, now the state gets involved. And they just tell you what their distribution rules are. I want to make sure that, which is why I have a trust, that my real estate stays and continues to produce cash flow. And hopefully the cash flow, which is very tiny at the moment, hopefully that cash flow increases over the years. And my wife will have more and more and more income. I also want to buy more rental properties. So then, of course, that cash flow over the years will increase and increase and increase. On top of that, as I mentioned, I'm starting to move some of my money towards the stock market. And I have my wife as the beneficiary so that one, she gets a lump sum, and two, she has income for the rest of her life. And so that's my goal. Now, my current goal is to lower my taxes. As you know, I'm on a low income, and so I want to pay the lowest taxes possible over, let's just say, the next 10 years. So I'm looking for ways that I can pay lower taxes for the next 10 years. So if you like what I've talked about so far, please like, subscribe, and recommend my channel to anyone you know who has been knocked down by life. In the comments, let me know if you have ever used a certified financial planner for a one-time fee-only plan, a comprehensive plan, or if you have used a financial planner to do assets under management. Because I talked about how I am trying to lower my taxable income. And so I thought that I had a pretty good plan, but what I really wanted to do was see if a certified financial planner, I could pay just one-time fee only, look at my plan and tell me if my DIY plan to make sure that I lower my taxes and make sure that my wife has money for the rest of her life works. And so I want to now tell you about what happened when I tried 3 financial planners. The first financial planner that I went to was a person that I watch on YouTube. I really appreciate her videos. I learn a lot from her. Her name is Jenny Logan, and she is at Chisholm Financial. And I'll put her information in the description, as I mentioned. Now, Jenny, I had a 30-minute session with her, and that was fabulous. She said that she would do a comprehensive plan for a set fee. And then there were other different things I could add to it for a little bit added fee. Now that is perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. I did not want someone to say, we'll take assets under management. So that was my first one. So she was my benchmark. Then I'm going to now jump to the third financial planner before I get you guys to the second financial planner. The third financial planner that I went to really was trying to get assets under management. But as you know, I have a lot of real estate and very little in the stock market. So I really didn't have enough in the stock market for this person to manage. What they're looking for is, let's say, $500,000. They're looking for $1 million. I don't have money like that in the stock market. And so this really was not something that this person could help me with. And when I went to see the person, I said, what about just telling me how I can lower my taxes over the course of the next 10 years? And the person said, you can't. There's no way to lower your taxes. Now, I know that there are ways for me to lower my taxes because I've been doing it for years. And so I wanted to talk to you about what this person told me that they do for people now for assets under management. Because assets under management mean they charge you, let's just say, a 1% fee. That's just made up. It could be a 1.5% fee, could be a little less than 1%. But for that fee, what this person told me was they buy the index, just as if I had bought the S&P index. But because financial planners admit, at least this one did, that they cannot beat the index, what they do is they buy the index, and then they have software that watches for your winners and your losers. And at the end of the year, they sell off your losers to mitigate the gains that you have in your winners. See, their software does all that. Well, I'm not doing any of that. So that's what this person said CFPs do nowadays. He also said that I'd have to have $250K in the stock market to have access to that software. So that didn't work. Now, let's talk about the second financial planner that I talked to. And I only talked to this person for about 15 minutes, and I did not have to pay the person. They did this pro bono, which I really, really appreciate. I talked to them about what my plan was, about how I have everything set up, and about my plan to lower my taxes over the next 10 years, which does involve buying more real estate. It does involve depreciation and different tax write-offs that you get with real estate. But it also involves how I plan to use my 401ks from the colleges where I teach. So I have an idea. And so this person said that I'm doing everything that I could do to lower my taxes. And he said, it sounds like you have a good plan and that you don't need a financial planner. So I did not pay for the one-time fee with Jenny Logan, although if I needed it, I would pay her the one-time fee. But I didn't because I had a financial planner be honest with me. I told him about my self-directed accounts. I told him about my real estate. I told him about my plan to live off of my pension income and my rental cash flow and not my teaching income. And he said, you've got the plan. So that's it. I am a DIY investor. It has been certified for me by a financial planner. And so what I wanted to talk about last is that the quote of the day is, I'm not interested in paying interest. Never let your past determine your future.